Please join us in welcoming our next speakers, an amazing duo by the name of Aditya Chatterjee and Syed Affan from the College of Computing and Mathematical Sciences.
How loud is silence? Think about it. Let me pose this question to you. After we get off this stage, one of you is going to come up here and deliver your very own TED Talk. Silence? But in our heads, we're all telling ourselves, we're not good enough. I have nothing to talk about. I can't go up there. I can't speak there. Isn't that something you're saying to yourself right now? Because that's what was in our heads when we used to watch all these TED Talks. In high school, we all have this grand image of uni. You know, we think of these big lecture halls, big auditoriums full of smiling faces, such as yourselves, classrooms full of energy, full of life, full of joy, and the friend groups that you walk out of class with as you walk to the cafeteria, just straight out of a Hollywood movie. But
when high school began for us, it didn't begin. We weren't in these huge lecture halls, we weren't at events, we weren't attending film festivals. We were behind screens, logging onto Blackboard with our mics closed and our cameras closed.
instead of large hallways and classrooms, we got breakout rooms. Now, breakout rooms are a phenomenal concept, you know? They make even the biggest of extroverts introverted. Because it's just so awkward to be put into this room with no context, being unable to see the other person, because we're social creatures. And this accelerated a concept we like to call PSG. And no, not the football club. When it comes to football, I'm more a fan of the club by the name of...
Let's not get too political.
You're right. The pandemic social gap. What do I mean by this? The phenomenon by which we get tired of psychologically interacting digitally with other human beings when we're meant to be talking to them in person, leading us deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole of introversion and social awkwardness. The teachers would call our names whenever we would join class, and this was the height of the social interaction we would have online. Syed?
Present. Aditya?
Present, doctor. As you can see, all we would do, log on to Blackboard, say, "Good morning, doctor," and go right back to good night. That was the most of social interaction we would have during COVID. And, you know, we would find ourselves sleeping, going through TikTok, Instagram, playing chess, Clash of Clans, watching YouTube videos, doing everything except that which a university student should be doing in their first semester at uni.
Yeah, and on the topic of scrolling, I was personally a YouTube kid, so I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos from anything to everything. And ironically enough, I came across a TED Talk on Why Comfort Will Ruin Your Life by Bill Ekstrom. And, you know, I've got to be honest, on the inside, I felt guilty because I just come off of watching, I think it was 5 episodes of Squid Game, which is really popular at the time. But, you know, he gave really motivational words. They didn't mean much to me because I was at home behind a screen with nothing to apply those motivations to. And instead of answering my questions, it led me with even more questions. But all of them kind of specifically converged to one question. Am I even unique?
Silence is a very, very loud thing. The deafening silence we have in these breakout rooms, the deafening silence that goes on in our heads when we judge as to whether or not we are actually capable of going out there and speaking for ourselves, speaking for the good of ourselves and speaking for the progress of ourselves. Life gives us a lot of reasons to be scared to get up there and do what you dream of doing, do what you see others doing on screens, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Man, these people are celebrities, they're professionals. No, they're people just like us. Then why can't we go up there? Because life gives us a lot of reasons not to. Personally, I, as a kid, was very, very overweight. And this made me more worried about how people perceived the way I look when I had something to say rather than what they had to think about what I had to offer as a person. And this gave me not only a lot of weight physically, but more so weight mentally, hindering me from actually coming across as the person I was.
On the topic of personally, when you're younger, when I was younger, I was really anxious and really shy, and I still am to some extent. And yeah, back in school, my school and the friend groups in my school were very extroverted. And I'd always be watching from afar, just watching them laugh, watching them talk. I always wanted to talk to them, but I had no reason and no motivation to talk to them.
Syed and I actually met for the first time twice. The first time was on Blackboard. We were put on in an English class breakout room together. Oh, I hate breakout rooms. But as I'm put into this room, we had one task for the day given to us by Dr. Theodore here at KU, and it was to come up with an English presentation. Now, as I came across the notion of fulfilling this presentation, I hear a name and a voice. I see a name pop up on the screen and I hear a voice, an unmistakable aura. Syed Affan, and I clearly remember the ID number, 10000061340. Him and I had this astonishing dynamic. I had this ability to come up with ideas, but I didn't know how to communicate them effectively.
Yeah, and I, according to Aditya, was really good at slides. So I always find a way to take his ideas and put them into a visual format. We were like two puzzle pieces.
You know, a piece of a puzzle on its own doesn't really mean much to you. But as you start putting the puzzle pieces together, you start to see the real picture. And that's really what we did. We came together, we made that project a success, and we presented it to the class. As we presented to the class, there was applause, clapping. But not the kind you hear, an emoji. Same type of emoji your dad sends you when you tell him you did something great in school. The clapping emoji, and that was it. Say it was just a mere name next to mine in the PDF we submitted for that class. And that's it, Bob's your uncle, we submitted that. Never did anything about that and forgot about it for a long time. Flash forward to the next semester, we come back, 2022, they announce that COVID is over. Finally, I get to go to uni in person and be a freshman. Oh, and what a freshman I was. Walking into campus, I knew where nothing was. Lost. Like a fish out of water, I was struggling to even ask for help because of the pandemic social gap. So I decided to follow where my heart would take me. Did I say heart? I meant my stomach. I found my way to the cafeteria, and with the few friends I had at that time, I would just spend my time in between classes fulfilling my hunger with all sorts of meals. And one day, as I was at the cafeteria, I heard a familiar voice over my shoulder.
Yeah, and I would like to order actually make that one chicken sandwich. Yeah, yeah,
Syed?
Yeah.
We presented in English together last semester.
Aditya?
Yeah. Oh, nice to meet you, man.
What's up? What's up?
See, this interaction taught us one fundamental thing. Syed was not just a mere name. He was a person with his own aspirations, his own dreams, with the same as I. And joined by major computer engineers, we're both in the engineering faculty, in the engineering department. However, we both had different lived life experiences. And this sparked within us an innate curiosity to get to know each other better, to get to know the other's mission better, to get to know how we could be friends. And friends we became. And so time went on, and a year passed, and we got this email.
And I saw it first, right?
I guess so.
And it looks scary. There's a robot, there's a bunch of logos, there's a bunch of text, and it says hackathon. It looks scary. But the email caught me for all the wrong reasons. Food. And
see, Syed and I had a lot of common interests. Indian cuisine, Italian cuisine, Chinese cuisine, shawarma, cheesecake. But I digress. We were very worried as to what this actually meant for us. We wanted the food, but could we pay the cost associated with it? Let's take a deeper look into our thought process.
It's an absolute mess. And this is realistically, this is me going back in time, looking at our texts, and trying to find the general, how we really thought of it. We were really scared. We were asking ourselves questions like, oh, we're just sophomores. We are not made for this. There's no way we can register. We are not going to win. We're going to embarrass ourselves. All these different kinds of thoughts.
And we were at a crossroads with a choice to make.
Do we not join and get no food, or do we join and get free food? Now, to me, I would go with B.
And join we did. Here you see us standing there smiling in the picture with all of our colleagues, master students from MBZ, UAI, PhD students, Silicon Valley judges, mentors, startup founders, all smiling because they just gave really good, compelling AI pitches. And you can see us in the midst of all of them smiling because we just had the best free buffet of our lives. Now, we had to pay the cost associated with it. We can't forgo that. And we did that with the team name of AI Baba. Very creative, I know. And we presented our idea.
Yeah, our friend took over the problem statement. Aditya jumped over, I think it was the solution. And I went over the business model. Now, I know I'm up here on stage with a suit, but back then, I knew nothing about business. I mean, I couldn't even define business if you asked me to. But we all have connections. So I asked one of my great friends, and she had a bachelor's in business, a master's in business. She was really good at business in general.
Business at KU? They don't offer business at KU.
Yeah, yeah, no, they don't. But our friend.
I don't have any friends that study business at KU.
Yeah, you do. Cici.
Our friend Cici?
Yeah.
Do you guys know anyone named Cici? No. Neither do I. Who's Cici?
ChatGPT.
As you could see, we were running on fumes. With nothing but a dream and some hunger, we were up there presenting, and we were presenting with people who could probably build GPT from the ground up within days. Meanwhile, we didn't even know how to use it properly. Amongst them, we were the imposters. So it would never cross our mind that we would be selected to the next stage to present at the largest tech exhibition in the world. Surely not. 2 weeks later, we were going to get a rejection letter. We presented in front of a Silicon Valley founder, a sheikh, a Forbes top 50 list founder, and a professor of machine learning. We presented our travel chatbot. Right? What did it do, Syed?
Yeah, it was this really cool solution we came up with. It would basically take any prompt and it would give you flights to this country. So example, if you enter New York, it would give you a flight there. It would give you travel plans, meal plans, tour guides, events, all kinds of things.
This is what we would say on LinkedIn, right? Saying, oh, we presented our chatbot solution, AI, all's well and good. What actually happened was when the judges came to test our chatbot actually tested their patience. Trying to plan a trip to Sicily in Italy, the chatbot took some time to think and instead planned a road trip for them to Sharjah. Instead of 7 hours flying on a 5-star trip there in Italy, they spent 7 hours in traffic instead. And this was not by no means a great accomplishment, but nevertheless, they had something to listen to us for, and we were there for it.
And before we knew it, we had all these thoughts running through our heads. It was, why did they select us? We don't belong here. Surely there's an error in them selecting us. And so they began the announcement, and the woman is up on stage. She goes, and first place goes to...
Drum roll, please.
Team AI Baba.
Yeah.
So how do we do it?
We have the pictures to prove it. See, we went up there, we went out there, and we won. Because we couldn't lose. Losing is the worst thing you can do. No one cares about losers, only about winners. You have nothing to do. If you lose, you're finished. You have to win every single time. Or so we thought. Everyone idealizes winning, but no one really romanticizes losing in the same way. Because losing to us is rejection, is dejection. It's scary, isn't it? Well, we lost. These were the actual winners. And we had some time to think about all of this over the next few days as we drove back, spent some time thinking of our loss.
Yeah, and we realized, we lost a lot of things. We drove all the way to Dubai, to GITEX. We embarrassed ourselves in front of some of our friends were there as well. And worst of all, there was no food. I don't know why I didn't have food there. But 2 days later, I found myself in class. I was taking, I think it was software engineering. And I'm sitting down, the professor's talking. And I look at my phone, I get a notification. I end up doom scrolling, and I find myself in my gallery, my images, my videos. And I'm looking back at the event, and I'm looking at my classroom, I'm looking back at the event, looking back at the classroom. And I realized that was actually kind of cool, We gained a lot more than we lost, even though we lost. It doesn't seem right on paper, but it makes much more sense when you experience it. We gained resume material. We gained the presentation skills that brought us here today. And best of all, we were inspired. We were inspired to not just enroll in one competition, but to enroll in whatever we see.
We took the chance because after this, we couldn't really start waiting for another opportunity to find us. We couldn't start waiting to be told, okay, you lost, it's okay to get back up on your feet. Joined by our ability to, ideate and present them visually, we thought we could only get better from here. Because we really had nothing to lose, only to gain. And that's exactly what we did. Every email from there on out that we got, we signed up, regardless of what it was for, where it was, when it was, with who it was. We made sure we were there. Because the first step is stepping up. And that's what led us to this.
And that one embarrassment at Alibaba was enough for us to not care about being embarrassed. So the main thing you notice here is that there's a lot of people and a lot of money as well. I just want to show you one thing. At the top, the really top picture where it says SMAC, that competition had people, students who were high school kids. I remember talking to 14, 15-year-olds who were deploying large language models. And here at the F1 that Aditya registered in.
I would have never thought that I would ever get to touch an F1 car, much less be a part of a team that could actually somehow drive it around a track with AI. What? In this other picture over here, I'm standing next to His Excellency, the Minister of Economy of the UAE, and part of my team standing next to him was the Vice President of Fly Dubai Cargo. Isn't that crazy? I would have never met these people. I would have never dreamt of meeting these people. In my head, prior to the first competition, I was not good enough to be on stage next to these people. But yet here I was, simply because we took the chance and we stood up for ourselves. And let's break it down mathematically. So, a 68.8% loss rate with 31.3% win rate. Academically speaking, that's below an F. A failure. Right? But let's think about it in another way. If we didn't have that first loss and all the losses that followed, we would not be able to grow our skill set. We would not be able to learn what we lacked so that we could work on ourselves. So, in reality, everything truly is a win because it's all worth it. For those of you that are wondering what it feels like to lose, let me tell you what it feels like to win. In the face of maybe a 98 losses, that one win and that feeling of, yes, I did it, is so fulfilling, and you forget about all those losses in that instant, kicking you forward, picking you up, and setting you on a trajectory for your next win.
Yeah, and the losses aren't just losses. The losses teach you or motivate you to finally get that one win and that one feeling.
Let's compare this to Aditya and Syed, who would have never tried, would have never gotten up on stage, never signed up, never motivated by the free food. We would not have tried, we would not have failed, and we would not even have had one win, much less 31%. That's a 0% win rate. 31% to 0%. The ratio is infinity. By just winning one of those competitions, we were infinitely better by having not tried at all. And math tells us you need to understand limits to understand infinity, right? You truly need to understand your limits. You need to understand your boundaries, how far you can truly go in order to earn your infinity. That one win that really for you constitutes infinity and puts infinity into your own hands.
That's why we have a message for you. Just go out there, break your limits, break those barriers, and write your story because no one is going to write it for you.
There's no point in waiting for permission to be told to get up there, to be told to pick up the pieces from your failures and turn it into a win. And there's more certainly than not, no one's going to be waiting on you to tell you, now is the time you need to get up and start. So stop waiting for it. Do it scared.
Do it unsure. Do it fearful.
Because the truth is, you don't need permission to start.